as far as injuries go here, Snead is going to have his clavicle fixed. It was fractured, and so we'll just see how that works for him as far as the time away and all. And then Chris Jones has a groin strain, and we'll see what he can do today. But really, that's the only players that would potentially miss. Snead definitely missing. With that, listen, we look forward to the challenge of playing the Patriots. We know what they're about. They're a heck of a football team, and they're as well coached as anybody in the National Football League. And on both sides of the ball and special teams, they're tough and aggressive and well-schooled. So we've got to make sure we have a good week of practice. Nobody does it better than Bill does it in this league, and he's time-tested. He's been doing it a while. So, and then Cam's playing great football for him. So we got to make sure that we get to practice here, and then we focus in on what we need to do to play our best game against them. So with that type.
Go first to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, just checking on Andrew Wiley. Is he going to be practicing today?
Yeah, he'll go through practice today.
Let's go next to Todd Lebo. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Coach, you've prepared to go against Bill Belichick teams a lot over the years. This is the first time in a long time you haven't had Brady over there to prepare for. You don't have a lot to look at. They didn't have exhibition games and stuff, but what do you think about the differences, or are there differences with the way their offense runs with Cam there compared to Tom, and what that challenge will be like?
Yeah, well, they do a heck of a job on the offensive side, and they've got a great coordinator who's been doing it a long time and done it a bunch of different ways, and they've got good players. So Cam being in a role there that he is fully accepted, and I think he's enjoying. So he's doing a great job, and so that's we anticipate them being able to run the ball, but don't be fooled, because Cam can throw the ball too very well, and they mix it up and have the flexibility to do so. And then defensively, again, they're always very well coached, and their scheme is as sound as can be, and they do quite a few things out of it.
Let's go next to Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, good morning. Yeah, the team has a pretty good protocol system in place, and with what's going on in Tennessee right now, how much have you used that as a teaching moment to emphasize to the players and the staff the importance to adhere to the protocols?
Yeah, well, and I'm not saying that they didn't. I mean, to the best of your ability, you have to do that. I mean, Braves was a good program there, and it's a pandemic, so I mean, things can happen, and he's working through those now. But you've got to take as many precautionary measures as you can, and try to stick with them. And then if something happens like that, then you've got to work through that. So we've all been coached up on it, and we're all trying to do the best we possibly can with it. So anyways, that's I hope that answers kind of what you need there.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy. I know we're getting Juan Thornhill today, and so I wanted to ask you about your safety play. Juan, Tyron, Tedrick, and Dan Sorensen played a lot on Monday night. You guys really haven't given up as many explosive plays as most defenses have in the league so far. Just what have you liked most about that secondary group that you have, particularly at the safety position?
Listen, I think they have great communication, and David does a nice job of giving them indicators and things to work with, and then they talk and they watch tape and they spend the time to do that. Every week's a different challenge. It's no different this week. I mean, as a safety, you got to be on your A game. So it ends up being very important, whether you're covering the pass game or working with the run game. But they've taken each challenge so far and really try to work it the best way they possibly can. And I think communication is a big part of it. Yeah.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Good morning, Coach. I've noticed Pat's been spreading it around maybe even a bit more than last year. I was curious, how have you seen maybe his strides through these 3 weeks in pre and post snap processing?
Yeah, no, he's done a nice job with that. I think he has a lot of trust in the guys, and opportunities have called to where maybe it's not the primary guy. Maybe it goes to a different receiver, and he's been able to do it and see it and do it well. So that part won't change. I mean, when EB puts everything together, he does it with the fact that he gets everybody involved. So, I know there's only one ball. I mean, the guys know that too, but you try to give guys an opportunity to work their strengths.
We have time for a couple more. Let's go Sam and then Sarin. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy, I wanted to ask you about the long pass to McCall for the touchdown on 3rd and long.
Yep.
Obviously, when you call that play, I know you've got a good feeling about it, but did it play out the manner in which you had anticipated when you called it? And was there anything else that's specific that might have stood out to you about the way that play was executed?
Yeah, so Mike Kafka saw something on tape that he liked there, and so we put the play in, and then it was for that. That was one of the opportunities that we had to call it in that situation. We had it in a couple different places, but we got the look that we wanted, and I think it was it was a long pitch and catch, but it ended up being a nice throw and a nice grab. So
let's go last to Sarin. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, I know you guys have had a lot of different injuries over on the defensive side of the ball. Yet it's been a good year, right, for the defense. How much more of a scramble is there going on behind the scenes, because you've come in with guys down, and then it seems like somebody goes down, important guys go down in the game as well, and yet there hasn't been really a drop off. I know Tyrann, talked about letting some scores in that first game late, and maybe that could be indicative. But for the most part, there's been kind of a fire drill over there at times, and yet there hasn't been any drop off. How much more is maybe going on behind the scenes than we see, since the results have been there?
yeah, so your normal things, Sarin, is you go through all the the walkthroughs, and you go through the installs and more walkthroughs, and then you practice, and and so the guys have been diligent with it. The guys that have been backup players that are now playing have been diligent with making sure they learn the game plan. So easy it is for a relief pitcher just to kind of back off, say, we'll be fine. But these guys have actually jumped in and done it. And then I think Spags and David and Sam do a good job of rotating their guys back there and trying to get everybody in. A little bit that same thing, we do it with all the spots, but back there they've got all these combinations that they're using. So everybody kind of gets a piece of it and has to get in and work it. But I think that's helped, I guess, cutting it long story short. I mean, it's helped to work that way.
Coach, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us.